Okay, good afternoon. Class, we are going to be talking about the fire alarm system, the main components in a fire alarm control panel, and also the kind of wire that we need to use according NEC, and the different peripheral that could be connected to the main electronic board. Okay, and we are on the EL21 160 low voltage application unit 4 day 1. This is my contact information, and the main objective of this lab is that the student will understand the main components on a fire alarm control panel. Also, we are going to be talking about the actuators. Okay, the actuators, this is the strobe when the actuators such as a smoke detector, any type detect a fire, it will be sending the signal to the fire alarm control panel, and the fire alarm control panel will be activating this using the light and noise, okay, sound, to indicate that a fire started. Also, it will be indicated in which area of a building or the commercial or industrial site the fire pops up. Okay, right here we have a fire alarm control panel. Okay, it's an electronic board. All of the components here work with 24 volts DC. So the electronic board or a small computer that control my fire alarm system will be working with 24 volts DC, which means that I will be having, or I have on the part of the electronic board, the computer, a power supply that convert 120 volts that will be connected here, AC, from the commercial power into 24 volt DC. After this, all the components in the electronic boards work with 24 volt DC. And the actuators as well, or peripheral components such as the smoke detectors, okay, the strobes, and any other device or actuator using the fire alarm system to detect any fire. Okay, some actuators, some smoke detector work with the changes on the temperature. When the temperature in the surrounding area goes above certain degrees Fahrenheit, it will be sending the signal to this computer, the fire alarm control panel, and then the fire alarm control panel will send out a signal to the strobe. So the strobe will be blinking and emitting a sound. Okay. Other actuators work with changes on the oxygen, the concentration of oxygen. So if the oxygen is modified, the concentration of oxygen is modified in the atmosphere, they will detect it using some kind of beam of light to detect the changes on concentration of oxygen, and if the concentration of oxygen is reduced, then send the signal to the fire alarm panel, and the fire alarm panel or this computer will send the activation to the other type of actuator, which is the strobe. Okay, the strobe. So there are different type of actuators used to detect a fire. Okay, some of them work on changes on the temperature, as I told you, and another of them work based on the changes on the concentration of oxygen in the atmosphere. Right here, we have the input for the actuators. Okay, we have positive and negative. Why? Because all my actuators, smoke detectors, and strobe work with 24 volt DC. So we have the positive and the negative. In addition to this, we have, as a backup, we have a set of two batteries to provide 24 volts, positive and negative. In case the commercial power, 120 volts AC, are not present, the control panel, fire alarm control panel, will be working with the DC. Of course, the batteries should be connected, so when the power comes back, they will be recharged, okay? Not only that, this computer could be connected via internet to another computer. We have Ethernet, which is a kind of a port to connect a computer, or connect this computer via internet and access this via internet to programming and to detect fire, any fire that start up. Okay. Additionally, we have this set of relays, okay, to work with other system, other alarm system, to indicate that a fire pops up in this location. Okay, and we have the USB. This is an interface to connect a computer via USB locally. So I can connect, I use a USB cable, a USB 3.0, and I will be able, with the proper software installed on a PC, Windows 10 or Windows 11, programming or reprogramming or control this computer, this fire alarm control panel. And right here, we have the input, which is 120 volts, and all the devices here work with 24 volt DC, okay? The precaution that we have to have when we work here is that before we touch anything, we have to touch any ground, any metal that is grounded into my system to discharge my static electricity. Keep in mind, my brain communicates with my whole body, sending electrical pulses, this DC, that create kind of static electricity on my body. And on summer times, dry days, my static electricity could reach up to 20,000 volts, enough to burn out any component here. Keep in mind, this is electronic board, it's a computer, okay, it's a computer. So you have to be careful before you start working on it. So we have to ground ourselves, touching a ground system or any metal that is connected to my ground system, my grounding system, and then be able to work on these electronic boards. The kind of cable that we use is the fire alarm cable, okay? This one, this cable is gauge number 18, 2 conductor. Is for fire alarm system, okay? And this is the appropriate one, because look, if we come and check, some actuators work with 3 or 1 ampere, 2.5 ampere, okay? So I need to be careful the kind of wire cable that I use. It has to be a gauge 18, properly classified to be used in fire alarm system, and plenum classified, plenum category. Plenum category means that I can running on the plenum. The plenum is the space between the ceiling and the roof. If any incident happen, such as a fire, this kind of cable will retard the propagation of the fire, and the smoke emitted by the plastic sheet is not toxic. So, okay, this is what I have for today. On the next lab, we are going to be working, installing the actuators. Thank you.